Hi, this is Cecilia from Tarot by Cecilia, and this is your weekly tarot guidance for the week of April 24th through the 30th of 2017. Wow, another month down. That's what I'm thinking to myself. But this is one that we all really just want to get through. But it is definitely a crazy month for sure. Now, as far as this week goes, we have on the 26th, the new moon in Taurus, and on the 28th, Venus, which is now going forward, maybe not really fast yet, but it's re-entering the sign of Aries. So we're getting into that, next leg. We're aiming for Venus to get into its sign of Taurus where it will be comfortable, and that will happen in June. So let's keep that in mind as we go along here. Now, can I just tell you a little bit about what it is that I do? Because I try to keep enough of a variety of tarot cards around that I always have many decks shuffled, waiting to be, the guidance waiting to be done whenever there's time. So, there's a different deck for each one. So it always amazes me when I still see the same things with a different deck that's been shuffled and moving along. So what I'm referring to here is that with this deck I'm using right now, it so resembles last week, but it's not. Okay, it is different. But I have to tell you, last week really shook up your world. And I think for many of you, it's in a good way because it's taking you toward your goals. All right. So if things finally started, it's like, how when the dam burst and things just go flying forward. They are, but they're not. And you're sitting there. That's where all the confusion was coming in last week, right? You want to see things happening. When I tell you this so resembles last week, it blows my mind. All right. But at the same time, there are things finally, I think, that are registering in a sense, like what's going on. Like the future is coming. I think you're good with that now. You might even manage to like maybe a minor issue. You might have to sacrifice something to get it done this week. But I think it's like you're going to lay that to rest. And that's a good thing, okay? Somehow it wants to show it up as a loss that's a success. Sounds crazy, doesn't it? But it's all for the best. So whatever you're doing, whatever you're, like if you're giving it up, letting it go, whatever the case may be, that's it. Because it's time for new things. We're coming up to the new moon this week. And I really truly believe that you're hearing things, whether the wheels are turning in your own mind and you're hearing them, or you're hearing them because of communication. Things are happening. It's not quite time for Mercury to go direct yet. Believe it or not, that will be next week. We'll be talking about that. But, it's that I want to go forward, but it's not time. But boy, you can feel it. Like, there's my future. And that fire burns within you. It's a powerful, powerful feeling. I'm really loving this, okay? There is, honestly, nothing you can't do if you don't put your mind to it. I mean, it may take some extra hours, some overtime, burning the midnight oil, but boy, you can make change. Like I said, there's a loss associated with making your wishes happen. That almost sounds a little bizarre, but it's not. Because I think that the loss is a part of life that you've been done for a while. It's just that kind of like, there it goes, like floating down the stream. Don't need that anymore. But that's okay. You're so close. I'm telling you, you are so close to this huge transition in your life. And when I tell you that it's in a matter of months, not going to resemble what it was for so long. You have to remember, this is a year of breaking out. It's a big theme that started at the tail end of last year But with the energies at the beginning of this year, it wasn't really noticeable. It will be, you will know it by October. You'll be like, I did it. I did it. Oh my goodness. That's the thing. That's what I'm saying. This big transition is coming. And you're really getting to that, like that late May, early June, where you're entering it. Because you've been in a, what did I call it before? Since like October. You've been in this like like an intermission type of transition. I don't know how else to put it. It's like if you hopped on a shuttle to go from A to C, but that transition was B, okay? And then C is when you get to the big one, and then you move on. And, you go see what there is for D through Z. It's a, life is a process. It doesn't stop. So that's one thing. I think that the people that are with me now understand that when we talk about different time frames, it's not that you just get to this point and you park your butt and you're done, because you're not. You have to keep on going. Every day is different, and every day you get up and you do more. But there are certain points that if you were writing a book about your life, there's a really good one that's coming, and you're going to know it, all right? Now, in order to open new doors, you have to close old ones, right? Most of you have closed most of the doors, but I think there is a big one still hanging out there that needs to be dealt with. And that may be what takes a while. That may be the door that you get to tackle come late May. You're taking care of all the other things, and then you have to work on whatever else it is. But this week, I think it's like, not that you see it, feel it, know it, but I think you're more in understanding of it, because some crazy stuff went down last week. This week, whatever's left over from the craziness of last week starts to smooth out by the new moon, okay? And you start to see some motion of what's going on. There's, I think some things to be thankful for. And did you ever, like, how do I want to say it? Like, if you could ride above your own life and look at it, like in Dickens' A Christmas Carol, and see what it's all been about, all right? That type of thing. There's not just you. Like, yeah, it's kind of like that. If you could observe your own life, that sort of thing. Imagine how much more you could understand if you could be above it all and just look at how it all transpired. That's what I'm saying. I think that it gives you that ability to get back up and keep on going. If you're having a moment, because you feel too bogged down by stuff this week, I think you're going to be, giving thanks, because the manifestation is coming, and it has something to do with this new moon, okay? But, that's hard. What is it you're trying to manifest? I don't think that you know for sure, because there's an assessment period associated with this. Sometimes, when we put those intentions out there, things don't always come our way right away. It often takes time to reach our goals. I'm saying? It's not like a magic anything where you give your intentions at the new moon and poof, they're yours. It doesn't happen, okay? I think, first of all, they need to be intentions that are real and viable with the universe, and that the universe can say, okay. But see, here's your patience with it as well for that fresh start. Everywhere I look, I see Jupiter. All right. Jupiter is really having a year this year. It is involved in everything all over the place. And it's a big player in how your year is working out. So if you have any questions about that, I think there's a Jupiter in Libra. There's a Jupiter retrograde. They're available on Patreon. You can go listen to them and check them out, because Jupiter really is behind so much that's going on. And when I look at this, it's not even just in retrospect, okay? But with all the stuff that went down last week, ooh, thunder, and what's going on this week, it's kind of like the universe wants to separate, the wheat from the chaff. Think about that. Because when I do this type of guidance, not everybody's having the perfect life, okay? None of us is having a perfect life. But, sometimes whoever's over here and they're not on the right side of their path, things are going down. And that's what last week feels like, okay? But I'm telling you, it's carrying over into this week. But it brings with it significant change. Like the changes start to happen a little bit faster. Doesn't matter that, we have 4 retrograde planets right now. But, you can almost like see it here that Pluto jumped on the scene. Yeah. Saying, hold up there. I don't like what you're doing. Yeah. But you're going to see it. You're going to know it. I don't care if it's in your own life, if you see it in someone else's life, or if you see it playing out on a global scale. There are things that are happening where, you've got Saturn retrograde, Jupiter, Mercury, and Pluto. That's powerful. It's really powerful. But that's my point, is whatever's transpiring in your own life this week, it depends on how you've been leading your life. So if you've been doing it right, you're going to say, there, my rewards are coming. You're going to know that they're coming. That's why I said there's something about this week where, like, you might not have it yet, but you can feel it. Oh, it's something. So maybe a little more clarity coming in spite of the confusion. The confusion remains, but I think that after the new moon, it's kind of like, I kind of knew something like this was going on. I kind of knew something like this was going to happen. This is interesting to me, okay? Because it can be so many different things. And, there's that part of you that would like nothing better than to just be dancing in the streets, okay? For lack of a better phrase. But there's this kind of like, let me just stay here, be as grounded as I can, be as careful as I can, and make sure that everything's taken care of. Because sometimes when you look at your progress in life, it's almost like saying to yourself, it's too good to be true that I've made it this far. All right. Now, if you already know that come late May, early June, you're going to be in another phase where you're going further, what tends to happen? You're afraid that the other shoe is going to drop, pretty much. It's that kind of a thing. But, see, you're getting closer by the day. And, what do we call that? Like closer to the light at the end of the tunnel. You know what's also present here this week and last week as well? Karma. Huge doses of karma everywhere, all right? So what is it with last week and this week? Some days of reckoning, perhaps. It's amazing to me, all right? Absolutely amazing. I think by the time we get to the solstice, all this that's been playing out, wow, like I said, it's karmic and it will be handled. And this week's reading wants to re-emphasize the same thing as last week's reading. That new identity that we've talked about. It's available to you when October rolls around. Could be late September, but October is more like the first full month of it, I want to say. Something to that effect. Where you can really feel good about things, what you've accomplished and what you've done, and the fact that your life is completely different. Because you're choosing the roads that take you away from stress, that lead you to brighter days. I mean, it's here. It's everywhere. And while there will always be challenges in life, you want to choose what creates peace. That's a good one. But, I have to tell you, there's some things here. What do we have right now? This is a weekly, and I don't want to be so far ahead. But if I see it, you know me, I have to talk about it. Okay. So when the sun goes into Gemini, all right, so we're talking a month from now. Not even a month, maybe 3 weeks from now. Something like that. Boy, time flies, doesn't it? And there it is. There's that moment of faith that's being restored. And that could be that May 22nd thing that I've been talking about for the longest time. All right? So you see, you're kind of in the home stretch. Not the home stretch of getting to October, but you're in the home stretch of getting through the retrogrades and all this other stuff that's going on. So to me, this is absolutely wonderful. But last week, really, I think that was, if there was a turning point in retrograde season, that must have been it. All right? But you are definitely, it's, that feeling of like not being able to fight your way out of a paper bag. I think that's the saying. Okay. You're figuring it out. You're learning how to think out of the box and make things happen and create. Jupiter. Whatever Jupiter's doing. Isn't that something? Everywhere. And look to where, even though it's still currently retrograde, it will be going direct again in a few weeks. Look to where it is working to your advantage this year and see what it is that you need to be focusing on, because that's what you want to be ready for in the next 2 months. That's the direction that you want to take with your plans. So I want to thank you all very much for being here. Have a wonderful week, and I'll see you here again next week. Take care.